Perfect. Let's see what the crack is with this thing. Perfect. Well, hello everyone. My name is Sean. This is my MLS predictions kind of show on Twitch. All that kind of jazz. As you can probably see, I've got a couple of wee things lagged about the place. Basically, trying to get a few more followers and all that kind of jazz. So, if you're new to this, hit that follow button. This will be put on YouTube, so hit the subscribe button. I know there isn't any subscribe buttons on this as of yet because nobody really knows me and nobody really watches this anyway. So, the joys of life. So, yep, there's going to be a hell of a lot of games on tomorrow night. Um Way too many for me to even count just live here, basically. But I'm going to try to do my best to give you my predictions for all of them because there is quite a lot. I did do very well. If you follow me on Twitter, that MLS watch all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to get MLS Ireland, but some Egypt has it, and he's only tweeted once about 10 years ago, and he hasn't done anything else after that. But I digress. I did very well last week, which I'm quite surprised. Well, not last week, but on Saturday. I done quite well. So I'll give myself a pat on the back. I know the last two games were kind of off, but I got a lot of them got the results correct. In the New England game, I got the 2-1 correct, so I'm quite proud of that. So saying that, may as well. There is a lot of games, and I know a hell of a lot of you probably won't be wanting to watch the. Basically, if you want to watch the Champions League, which starts off in with 18 minutes or 17 minutes. So, might as well crack on. The first game, obviously, is Atlanta against Inter. Now, Atlanta now have in the last four games have won the three, which is pretty impressive at home. They're having this great record that in the last, I think, the last 10 games, they have probably the best record in MLS, probably behind New England. They're coming up against an Inter Miami team who, surprisingly, actually have a good record going on at the moment as well. Which is nice to see. They're starting to finally kick on, and all that kind of crap that people usually write on stuff like that. So, Inter in the last four games, they've won the last two away from home, which is pretty impressive. But then they haven't done all that great. Then kind of all that kind of stuff. So no, they lost the last two home games, and they won their last home away game, which was against Toronto, and then they beat Columbus and beat Cincinnati. So they're actually on a bit of a record at the moment, on a bit of better good form. But they're coming up against an Atlanta team who are at home, probably have the better running form, have their fans behind them, and all that kind of stuff. And basically, they have probably not. I'm not gonna say well, probably a better coach. What do you think? Does Atlanta have a good coach? Does Philly, but does Inter Miami actually have a good coach? God knows. So saying that, I actually went for like a 2-1 win to Atlanta. I know Atlanta have the better form. They're at home. They're on a plastic pitch for Christ's sake. So you suspect them to be move the chair, but you suspect them to be a bit better. So I'm gonna go for like a 2-1 win on that one. So to Atlanta, 2-1 win. Let me know if you have any predictions of these kind of games. I'll read them out. Got nothing else to do really. So the next one is Toronto against FC Cincinnati, and now two teams probably fair to say at the bottom of the league. Cincinnati sacked Yapstam yesterday, which I'm quite surprised they got the correct man this time. Just because when they tried to hire him, they put in the wrong person. But those were the fun times. If you follow me on Twitter, come on, big Sam Allardyce to take over and get them out of relegation. So coming up against Toronto, Toronto at home have a better record than Cincinnati at the moment. Cincinnati in the last four away games haven't won. They won a few games away this season, but I think they won three games away from season. That's actually pretty good. Whereas Toronto have won two at home, and I think the last one when they were at home, they actually won. So saying that, yeah, they beat Nashville 2-1, but then drew against Columbus Crew there a few days ago. So this what happens. I think actually Toronto actually probably are going to get a good result at this one. I went for like a 1-0 win. I think Cincinnati have the capabilities of getting a goal, but I don't think they will. I think Toronto are probably going to try salvage, kind of, save face, if that's the word. I know Cincinnati now are without a manager, so I think this is probably going to be a bit of a pain in the arse for them. So I kind of like went for 1-0 to Toronto on that one. The next one. The next one is Montreal against New England Revolution. Now, Montreal at home, right? These two teams actually probably have a very similar record. They have Montreal at home, they've won 7, drew 3, and lost twice. Whereas New England won 8, drew 3, and lost 3. So they're kind of similar. New England, in the last 4, they've only lost the one game, so that's pretty impressive. So Montreal coming up against a New England team who are. I'm not saying that they're going to just now basically take their feet off the pedal. They are number one for a reason. They are a very good team. Um, they've only lost 4 games all season, which is not bad, all things considered. Whereas Nashville only lost 3, but still. Whereas Montreal altogether have lost 9. They're kind of their record home and away at the moment is kind of all over the place. They got beaten by Columbus Crew there at the weekend, 2-1. So they're going to be coming up against a New England team who, let's see, they beat Orlando and beat Chicago. So that's not too bad. Good result for them. So I went for like a 2-1 win to New England against the Montreal team. Montreal do play good football. They're starting to kind of look like a team. They looked kind of off when they were playing with Thierry Henry. I was kind of thinking they kind of had too much expectation on them. Like there's not a big manager, but a big personality there that they had to perform, but they didn't really. So I think that was probably a lot of pressure on those players. But again, New England are top for a reason. This game can go anyway because New England are basically won the Supporter Shield basically. So I went for like a 2-1 win just for the fact that they are a better team. They're both on similar forms, but New England are just New England at the moment, and they're playing very well. So congratulations to New England on winning the Supporter Shield basically. So I think it's basically over and done with at the moment. The next one is DC United against Minnesota. Now, Minnesota who are starting to pick up a couple of results. They beat LA Galaxy and then they beat Houston 2-0 and 3-0 respectively. And now they're coming up away to DC United. Now they lost their last 2 away games against Seattle and Sporting Kansas City, but they're not bad. They're not great away from home either. They only won the 2. DC United actually haven't drew a game at home this season. They've won 9 and lost 3, and they won their last 3. So that's not bad at home. So they're starting, they beat Cincinnati at the weekend there, 5-2. So DC United against Minnesota. I think Minnesota probably going to get a good result out of this one. I went for like a 2-all draw. These two teams are kind of. Minnesota can shock you, if that makes any sense. They have the capabilities of winning the game, basically any game. But I kind of went for like a draw 2-all. The two teams are kind of in the similar area in the standings table, all that kind of jazz. So yeah, I went for like a 2-1, 2-all, sorry, to DC United, 2-all to Minnesota. That makes sense. The next one is a derby, well, a rivalry. New York Red Bulls against Philadelphia Union. Now, New York Red Bulls kind of messed up my bet last week. I did say that they're going to get beat by New York City FC, but they drew. I think they drew, or did they win? I can't really remember now. They won. They beat New York. Sorry, they beat New York 1-0. There's an interesting one now. They're coming up against a Philadelphia team who I believe won at the weekend there. They beat Atlanta 1-0 and beat Orlando the weekend before that. Now they're coming up away to New York Red Bulls. I went for like a 1-0 win to New York Red Bulls in this one. They're they're a strange team. This has been a very strange season, to be fair. They basically are where they are because they're at the bottom, nearly the 21st in the league, whereas Philadelphia are not. But their away record at the season, Philadelphia is atrocious. So I won like for a 1-0 win. They're just not playing very well, which is quite annoying. The next one is Chicago Fire against New York City FC. Now, Chicago Fire aren't playing all that great. At home, they're actually doing not too bad in the last 4. They drew 1, lost 1, but then won 2. Whereas New York City have only won the 1 and drew 1. So an interesting one. I went for like a New York City 2-1 win. Just They are a better team. Chicago Fire at home should be winning these games. I think Chicago Fire have now played basically a ton at home, which is because they were playing a lot away from home, and now this is their third home game. They haven't really won those games, so yeah, I'm gonna go for like a 2-1 win to New York City. They're just a better team. They're just flying for them. Go away. So yeah, I'll go for that one. The next one is FC Dallas against Sporting Kansas City. Now, this is going to be an interesting one. Let's see. Um, Sorry about that. Sporting Kansas City have a better record away from home altogether. They won 6, drew 2, lost 2, lost 4. Sorry. Whereas Dallas at home have no manager, 4 wins, 6 draws, and 2 defeats. Actually, haven't lost that many away from home. They drew a lot of games. So, but they're coming up against the Sporting Kansas City team who are better. So I went for like a 1-0 win. I don't think it's going to be a big blowout. I think FC Dallas will get a good game out of it, but I think it's going to be a wee bit too much for them. So I'm going to go for like a 1-0 win in that one. The next one is Nashville against Orlando. Now I kind of went for like a bit of a shocker on this one. I went because Nashville at home haven't lost a game. Orlando away from home in the last 4 haven't won a game. So when you said about that, actually probably doesn't sound like a shocker. I went for a Nashville 2-1 win. Um, Orlando is not doing all that great at the moment, and I think Nashville can probably take advantage of that and probably get a 2-0 win out of this one. They're just looking better. They haven't lost all games, and I'm going to drink a cup of tea here. It's getting cold. Ooh. So yeah, I went for like a 2-0 win to Nashville just because they're a better team, and Orlando just are fighting a lot, getting sent off a lot, and kind of not playing all that great. So yeah. The next one is Colorado Rapids against Austin. Funnily enough, Colorado Rapids has only lost 1 game this season, which is pretty impressive. But in the last 4, they've only won the 1 away at home and then drew 3, which is not. But it's a bit surprising because they won 6 and then won 6. Sorry, and drew 6 all season, and then they lost. They drew 3 of those last. So it's not looking good. But Austin haven't won a game away from home. So in the last 4, so I'm going to go for like a 3-1 win to Colorado. They're just a better team. Austin are. I know they won their last game there. That was against LA Galaxy, which was quite surprising. I did suspect LA Galaxy to put up a bit more of a fight, or at least to get a goal. But anyway, those things happen. So yeah, I went for a Colorado 3-1 win. And the next one is Houston Dynamo against Vancouver. Now, Houston Dynamo always seem to mess up my predictions. As I say, they're coming up against the Vancouver team who always mess up my predictions. So I went for like a safe 1-0. I haven't watched too much of these two teams. I know Houston have a better home record in compared to Vancouver's away, so I just went for like a 1. I think Vancouver have the capabilities of drawing with them, so I go even beating them. But I went for like a 1-0 just because Houston have that better form record going into this game. So those are my predictions on that one. The next one is Real Salt Lake against LA Galaxy. Like I said, LA Galaxy got beat by Austin. In Austin, I believe it was. Yep, in Austin. So that was their away. So they're coming up away again. They're coming up away again. Where's LA Galaxy? They're actually going to mess this whole season up again. Yep, in the last 8, they actually even haven't won a game. Now they're coming up against the Real Salt Lake team, who are scattered. They've won games and yeah, they're basically all over the shop. I kind of like for a 2-1 win to Real Salt Lake. Just they are in a better place than LA Galaxy at the moment. So I went for a 2-1 win in that one. Now another LA team who is quite kind of struggling, but not struggling at this present time. They won their last 2 away from home, which is LAFC. Now they're coming up against a Portland Timbers team who, sorry about that, a Portland Timbers team who's actually playing very, 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 very well at this moment. Portland are actually now 6th in the league. They actually haven't lost a game in the last 8 home Norway. Their last 3 home games was 6-1, 2-1, and or beat LAFC 2-1. So and they're coming, and then they drew against Colorado Rapids. So you can kind of suggest or guess what my prediction will be in that one. So I went for like a 2-1 win to Portland. I can see them. They have a better togetherness at the moment. They kind of doing a Seattle of last couple of seasons. Where they start kind of poorly, find their feet, find their rhythm, and then bobsleigh time. So yeah, I went for like a 2-1 win in that one. And now the last one, which is San Jose Earthquakes against Seattle Sounders. Again, I kind of went for a kind of a rare one. I kind of went for like a Sporting San Jose Earthquakes 2-1 win against Seattle. I think Seattle away from home are kind of dodgy. I think Seattle, San Jose Earthquakes kind of get themselves up for big games. So I went for like a 2-1 win in that one. So yeah, again, those are my predictions. Football's, I would assume, is starting now. It's thanks to anybody who watched this, or if anybody watched this at all. Again, hit that follow button, please. All this kind of stuff. It says that I have 10, but it says I don't have 10 really on the whole dashboard thing. So anyway, that knows probably what I don't know. So, yep. Thank you very much for watching me, and I hope to see you again. Bye. Toodaloo.